Have you ever noticed how confidence is kind of a variable thing? One of my mentors or teachers years ago called it situationally variable. Hi, I'm Charles Burke, and I help people locate their confidence and keep it strong under all sorts of situations, whatever comes along. I was just a kid. I was in sixth grade. There were two sixth grades in our school. And on this particular day, the teachers became our coaches. And they decided it's a beautiful spring day. We'll just take them outside. They announced, hey, we're going to play baseball. And of course, most of the kids in the class, most of the boys, they said, oh, wow, yeah. But there were the others of us, the few. I looked around and I could see a few faces like mine that were just sort of clenched, like, oh, okay, got to go through with this. You see, I was not athletically inclined as a kid, not at all. I was not there when it came time to play football or baseball or running or jumping or any of that stuff. You could always find me with my face in a book. And the other kids in there who didn't like sports, athletically disinclined, they had their own reasons for not liking sports and their own way of compensating for it. But today we went out into the field, beautiful spring day, and they divided us up three ways. There were two groups of kids who were going to play over on one side of the field. Those boys all were pretty good at sports. And then on the other side, there was about a third of us who weren't good at sports at all. And so we started. They divided those two groups on the other side into teams. And they played real baseball. I looked over there and I could see they were doing it right. On our side, we were doing some cobbled together piece of whatever it was. We would bat and we would hit and we would run. And it sort of vaguely looked like we were just making something up on the fly on what would otherwise be a football field. Now, we weren't good at sports, but have you ever noticed among all the people in a group, they always somehow gradually separate themselves out from most adept down to least adept. The people that are strong, the people that are weak, the people that are good talkers, people that aren't good talkers, good readers, bad readers, and so on. Whatever the group, people just sort themselves out. Researchers call that hooking order among cattle or pecking order among chickens. Well, on that day, I discovered where I landed in that group of athletically disinclined boys. I was the top. I wasn't very athletic, but I looked around and the rest of the kids were even less so. These boys they could barely catch a ball. They didn't know which hand to put over which when they held the bat. They just had not a clue. At least I knew how to hold the bat. And so suddenly I was infused with all sorts of confidence. Somebody would pitch the ball. I'd hit that sucker every time. There was one went straight over my head. Pow, home run. Well, the coaches were watching all this and they decided, this Burke kid, he's bad for morale over here. Let's put him over with the real boys. You see, kids back then, they didn't call us athletically challenged or athletically gifted. No, they called us real boys and sissies. Well, they took me out of that group because I was doing so well. They put me over with the other group, put me on one of the teams. And lo and behold, in that group, I didn't belong at the top. I didn't belong in the middle. I was way below the bottom layer. I was the bottom chicken in the pecking order. Well, that went on for about one inning. I struck out. I missed catching balls. I did everything wrong. So the coaches finally came to their senses. They put me back over where I belonged with the sissies. And suddenly I was a superstar again. Hit anything, throw anything, catch anything. And that's the way it went for the rest of that period of exercise. They called it physical education, PE. I guess that maybe they still call it that in these modern times. But I didn't know exactly what was happening then. I didn't understand it, but I sort of sensed that it was something important. There was something in that experience that meant something. And over the years, that memory would come back, and I kind of played with it over the years. And gradually, it sort of started sorting itself out. Confidence depends on where you are and who you're with. If you're with somebody that you perceive to be a superstar or just really good and gifted at what they do, you're going to feel like a fumbling, bumbling fool often. Not everybody has this. Somebody has, some people, a few people have the gift of just natural confidence with anybody, anywhere. Not everybody has that. And for most people, that situational confidence thing carries a lot of weight in how they do. Now, if you would like to change that in yourself and get free of the situational part of confidence and just simply be confident anywhere, anytime, any way, there are things that you can do. Of course, you can do it yourself with energy healing systems, EFT, EMDR. You can do self-hypnosis or go to a practitioner who's very good in this area. A sports hypnotist often deals with this a lot. But here are some things you can do in the meantime. Let's say it's your work, your job, and you want to rise in your field. Okay, here's some tips. Number one, make sure it's a field or an industry or something that you really care about doing. If you just sort of defaulted to that field when you got out of school and you just took the first job that came along and now you feel like you're stuck with it, if it doesn't light your fire, go where the fire's burning. Just leave that behind and go where what you do counts. That's number one. Number two is spend time, spend time mastering your skills. Study what people are doing, best practices, take courses, and make sure you do the best you can do with what you have right now and truly work to improve your skills and your abilities. Number three is get together with the people who really are good at this. Take them on as either a formal or informal mentor. Watch what they do. Spend time around them. Absorb their mental attitude. Absorb the way they do things. A lot of confidence comes from just nonverbal things that can't really always be communicated with words. But if you watch and you get the feel of something and absorb that feeling over time, you're going to become more and more like the experts. Now, you're probably wondering, most people do, why would an expert want me around? Well, here's the thing about experts. They love what they do, and that's why they do it. And they're always hungry for other people who also love what they're doing. If that's you, they will want to spend time with you, sharing with you, helping you get even better, because they love to see people who love doing what they're doing. Now, another thing that you can do is share whatever you already know how to do. If you feel like it isn't much, it isn't adequate, well, I guarantee you this, there's somebody coming along behind you who has even less mastery. Share some of what you got, give to them, help them, teach them. Every time you teach somebody something, you learn something more. You'll find things you didn't know you knew. So become something like an informal mentor to the people around you. Help them be better. In the process, you'll build a sort of a team, a network of people. Years later, you'll have people feeling like, yeah, man, I owe him. He got me my start, or she helped me get started when nobody else believed in me. You're building for the future. And just keep on. Now, there's one sort of esoteric thing. When you set a goal, you're looking to the future. You're setting something out into the future, and you're planning on going there. And it's like you plant an anchor there. There's a cable attached, and you're drawing yourself forward toward that goal. You're pulling yourself toward it through time into the future, in the direction you want to go, toward the goal you want to achieve. Now, if you'll follow just those 5 little tips, yeah, man, you'll get there. I'm Charles Burke, and I help people get there.